Hi you guys, welcome back to my channel, and in today's episode we're going to be talking about Texas and how they are losing their minds. So let's start off with the fact that let's talk about what's been happening before what is recently happening. So remember a few months ago when they had that snowstorm and all these people died? So let's talk about who died, right? Everyone lost power. Everybody lost power. People brought their generators into their homes, died. People tried to bring their cars and had the engine running to try to keep them warm, died. Kids died. Lots of people died. And it was preventable. And why did this happen? This happened because Texas decided some decades ago that they didn't want to be part of the United States as a whole, their electricity grid. So, depending on where you live, you have an electricity grid which will kick in when/if your local electricity decides for whatever reason that it doesn't want to work, right? So if you live in New York, you have the Eastern grid, and if you live in San Francisco or Seattle or Portland, you have the Western grid. Texas decided that they don't want to do any of it. They don't want to be a part of it at all. You want to know why? Because of socialism. They will brand any type of togetherness, any type of cooperation as socialism, as communism, as the Chinese are coming and all this. Like, they'll do anything to say this. So their governor currently is Greg Abbott. And I don't remember when exactly they did this, but they decided we're not going to be part of the United States electricity grid. So they created their own little electricity grid. It's called Ercot, which stands for the Electricity Reliability Council of Texas. But it's not that reliable, as we can see, as we saw. We saw in February or in March or whenever that snowstorm happened that everyone died. Nobody had power. They were borrowing electricity from here and there. They were borrowing it from the state next door. This happened before, though. In 2011, there was a really big snowstorm, and this exact same thing happened. Everybody lost power. People died. And okay, of course, let's be nice to Texas in that instance, because that was probably the very first time, like, oh shoot, we're having these record low temperatures, we're having these record high snowfall amounts. No one was used to that, right? But Ercot said, after that happened, Ercot said, okay, so we're gonna winterize. We are going to make sure that this doesn't happen again. The same executives that were at Ercot in 2011 were there this past February. So what did you do? You didn't do anything. That's why people died. Like, nothing happened because they don't care. Nobody cares. So, anyway, that's what happened before. Texas is now also saying, now I don't know where all you all live, but here in Philly, it's been a heat wave. In New York, heat wave. San Francisco, it was like 115 degrees. When does that happen? So clearly climate change is just having its way with us. Like, it doesn't care. It's just like whatever the temperature wants to be is what it's going to be. So in light of this, Ercot has said they've been saying for a few weeks now, Texas, can you please conserve your electricity? Asking regular people to turn down their electricity. Why? Because you don't think you're going to be able to make it. That's what it is. Ercot thinks that they don't want to have a blackout. They don't want to have another blackout. So they're going to put it on everyone else. Why don't you do your job? Why don't you are the electricity grid. So provide the electricity. I don't understand. Like, if your job is to do something, do you ask everyone who's depending on you to do your job to go somewhere else? Is that what you do? No, that's not what you do. So I need them to really get it together. So let's talk about the biggest problem. Well, I don't even know. Let's talk about the latest problem. So, Greg Abbott, their governor, he gave a little press conference and said that we are going to build a wall. Yes, that's what they're going to do. So, he is going to redivert some public funds to said wall. Okay. So, you're not going to redirect any funds to Ercot, right? Meanwhile, Ercot's asking everyone to turn off their electricity because you're about to have another blackout. But we're going to build a wall. That's what's more important, right? That's what's more important is to build this wall. So they want to build a wall between Texas and Mexico. Greg Abbott has promised he has put forth already $250 million of public funds to building this wall. $250 million. It's not going to Ercot. No, it's not going to so that they don't have a blackout. It's going to a wall. Keep in mind that the estimate is that it'll cost $25 million per mile to construct this wall. So remember, he has pledged $250 million and it costs $25 million per mile. So that means he's given 10 miles of wall, basically. Is it constructed? I don't even know. But where's the rest of the money coming from? That might be what you're thinking. You might be thinking, where's the rest of the money coming from? Would you like to take a guess where it's supposed to come from? It's supposed to be coming from you. Texans are supposed to donate to this wall. Greg Abbott says, we have to build the wall. Someone's got to pay for it, and it might as well be you. That's what he said. He said in a press conference, here's the website. You can come and donate. Now let's talk about how much money they're actually going to need. Because one might wonder, how much is it going to cost for this wall? So, did a little research, really quick research, and from the Department of Transportation of Texas, the border is 1,254 miles long. Okay, so we got 10. We got 10 from the governor. Only 10. You would think he would, I don't know, half? You would think more than 10 miles, right? When you got 1,200 and such a... But no, this is Texas. So let's talk about how much it's going to cost. Let's do a little math. Let's do some... Where's the calculator on this thing? So we are going to do some math so that we can find out how much it's going to be. So let's do 25. Okay, I just downloaded the calculator app. So we're gonna do 25 million. Yeah, 25 million times 1,244, because that's how many miles are left. So when you do that out, it becomes $3.1 billion. I need to know who is supposed to give this amount. Remember, regular Texans are going to give this amount. Now, let me pull out the iPad again because I got a little more data for you guys. I got some numbers. Greg Abbott's not going to tell you this, but I am. So I want to know who is supposed to donate. Because here we are, rich people asking poor people for money. Yet again, this always happens. This happened, always. Every single, remember the telethons with Oprah? Remember, it just happens so often where people who have everything are so dead set on regular poor people giving money. And this is for a wall, by the way. This isn't even like, I don't know, maybe Ercot should be asking for some money. Now, let's go through some of the top professions in Texas, the most prevalent professions, I should say. Not the highest paying, but the most prevalent ones. Number one is fast food and counter workers. Is the fast food person supposed to give money for a wall? Meanwhile, the minimum wage in Texas is $7.25. So they're making $7.25 an hour. You're not going to tell me that these people are making more than that. So what's that? $16,000 a year, $15,000 a year. Is that who's supposed to be donating to the wall, Greg? We got next, number 2, retail salespersons. Minimum wage. Minimum wage. I worked retail and I made a minimum wage. So I'm sure they are too. And third, home health aides. Home health aides aren't paid nearly as much as they should be, and they definitely aren't paid as much as people think that they are. Home health aides are paid like $11 an hour, if that. I mean, we're talking about Texas here, so they're probably making $9 an hour. Maybe they're making $9.50. Maybe they're making who is donating? According to Greg Abbott, he has raised $459,000 for the wall from that little website. So you got 400. You raised less than $500,000. Remember, it costs $25 million for a mile. So what's that going to get you? Clearly, this is a failure. And not to mention that it's not just a failure because of the fact that no one had the money to donate and that nobody is going to donate. There also was a survey done at the University of Texas. About 1,100 people were surveyed. 14% said that they would definitely donate. So we're talking about university students? Is that who's the... Regardless, okay, so we got 14% of people that are going to donate. We just read where most people work. We know what most people make. Stop playing. Greg needs to stop playing. And again, let's not forget the fact that the eminent domain of it all, like eminent domain is when a municipality says you have to give up your property because we need that land. Donald Trump was doing it. There were families who were fighting Donald Trump, who were fighting the federal government when he wanted to build the border wall because they said we don't want to give up our land. So now these same families are being interviewed like, oh, so Greg Abbott wants to build the wall. What are you going to do? They said they're going to fight back. If they can take on the federal government, they probably have more money than you, Greg Abbott. They have more money than you. So I hope they completely destroy him in court. I can't wait to see it. So that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.